Hi and welcome to K Warner Studio. Today I have a retake on the shadow boxes that I have, the shadow box frames that I have on my channel. I guess people are having difficulty with it, so I thought I would redo it again and hopefully it will turn out better this time. So these are the shadow boxes. This one's made out of a 12 by 12 piece. This is made out of an 11 by 11 piece. As you can see, there's quite a bit of difference in the size. The inside of this is 3.5 by 3.5, and this section in here is 4.5 by 4.5. These two are both the same. They have nice mitered edges. This one has some stamping done on just the outside of the box, which I will tell you when you need to do that. Not until after you have everything cut and burnished, it would be my suggestion. This is made out of craft paper, nice and sturdy. The sides hold up nicely. I have found that the better the cardstock, the better result. So I'll put these away and then we can start. The tools that you're going to need are a scoreboard that will score 12 by 12 paper, a bone folder, scissors that have a blade running the whole length. You might need a little pair of snips in case you have some of the score lines that need to be straightened or some such thing, and a good double-sided adhesive. Some people use glue. I don't have much luck with glue, so I'll just use this stuff. Besides that, you need the tabs to hold everything nicely, and I'll show you what I mean when we go to do that. Okay, so you score the same score lines on all four sides. So the first line is 3/4 of an inch, 1.5 inches, 2 1/4 inches, and 3 inches. Okay, so now we're going to rotate it 90 degrees and repeat the same process. 3/4 of an inch, 1.5 inches, 2 1/4 inches, and 3 inches. Rotate it again. 3/4 of an inch, 1.5 inches, 2 1/4 inches, and 3 inches. So every row is 3/4 of an inch in the difference of dimensions. So now we have this again. We're at the last one for this kind of scoring. It's 3/4 of an inch, 3/4 of an inch, 1.5 inches, 2 1/4 inches, and 3. Now we have 2 additional score lines to make. So on this one, we need to go 3 3/4 just to the second score line. And hopefully you can see that. Yes, there it is. Just up to this second score line that runs here. Okay, so now we're going to do the second one, which is at 8 1/4 inches. If you were going to do this with an 11 by 11 piece, that score mark would be 7 1/4 inches and not 8 1/4 inches. Okay, so now we're going to turn it 180 degrees so that these two lines that we make are directly across from the lines that we just made. So at 3 3/4 inches, just to the second score line, and at 8 1/4 just to the second score line. And again, if this was an 11 by 11 size piece of paper, this additional score line would be at 7 1/4 inches. Okay, so hopefully you can see all of these score lines. Maybe it's better on the other page. There we go. There's our additional ones on each side. So we're going to put this away, and now we're going to cut. Okay, so it's not an overly difficult task to do. It's just a few things, folding it and the cutting, that makes a difference. So here we have a cut template. So when we come to the second score line marks, we're going to cut up into the third and up to the fourth. Okay, so here we go. So trying to see these score lines, because I guess that's what the problem is with my recordings. So make sure you take the bulk out of your score line. So put your scissors to the left hand side of the score line cut from that corner up to the corner in the third square, okay, kitty corner, and then cut up to your fourth to the edge, and then stop. Okay, so it's like this, and then you come right over and remove the whole section, taking care to remove the bulk caused by the score tool. Okay, so now we're going to go on to our second one. We're going to put the score tool, the scissors, on the right hand side of where the score mark is. We're going to cut kitty corner from your second to your third section, and then up from your third to your fourth section. There we go. And then we are going to trim this right out of there. Take that whole corner out. There we go. So I might need to trim that up a little bit so that I'd have none of that score line there. Good. Okay, so now we're on to our third corner. Over to this line that went up to the second line. Just as before, put your scissors on the right hand side of that score line, or the left hand side, pardon me. And then kitty corner, up from that corner to the third. Very good. Up to the fourth. Great, and then we're going to trim that right out of there, the whole bit. Oops, focus, there we go. So take that right out of there. There we go. Now we are on to the next corner. We are at our score line that only went to the second line. We're going to put our scissors on the right hand side of that score line. And now we're going to cut kitty corner to the line that we made, the cut that we made up to the third. Okay, and now from the third to the fourth. Okay, and now we're going to remove all of that bulk in the corner. Okay, and you want to remove any of your score line bulk because it'll fold up nicer with it gone. And here I'm a little crooked, so I'm going to straighten that out as well. And cut that right out of there. Okay, good. Now, if you were going to do some custom stamping to make this a personalized shadow box, now would be the time to do it. Okay, so here we can see my cut marks. I will line that up for you so you can see. And that's just how it works. It's really that easy. So now we're going to burnish all of these score lines, and we are going to remove that now, and we're going to fold over the mountain. So this is the ridge, so you're going to fold over that. Burnish with your scoring tool. And now on to the next one. And try to do all 4 sections. Give them a good, rub with your score tool or your bone folder, pardon me. Let's do a little bit of surgery here. Okay, so you want to make sure that your line is up on clear line on top of your score lines. So your cut should be on top of the score line so that it folds up nicely. But you'll see that when we get going here. If you cut all of your bulk out as I suggested, then that's where your cut would have landed anyway. It's just I usually craft without my glasses on, and I have them on right now, which seems to be the problem. Okay, so the sides that have this angle are done differently than these ones, so we'll do these first. So the idea is we want to put your double-sided tape right up against your score line here. So you lay your tape right up against the score line. There we go. And then rip that off, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Oops, it's stuck to my fingers. That's all we need. Right up to this score line, your first score line. And then you just run your tape down the whole line. And I'm going to cut mine off because I don't like the jagged edges over here. But anyway, there we go. Just a hang up. so I am going to burnish this tape so that we have a nice firm application. Okay, so now remove your backing, but hang on to it because you're going to need it for the next section. And I'm going to roll that tape on top of itself so that we don't have any pieces of tape hanging out. Okay, so here it is. So we're going to keep this nice and tight. You're going to keep your fingers snug up against the base and turn it, rub over it, and then stand this up. And you'll be able to see that that's in there nice and snug. That's how you want it to go. Okay, so now we're going to go over this one. I'm going to give this edge a nice burnishing again. I'm going to remove the backing. As I said, hang on to the backing because you're going to need it for the next step. Okay, so we've got that tape all in one spot. Hold your fingers down into the corners, roll that over and rub it. Good, give it a good seal, and you'll be able to see that that edge is right up against there, which is just what you want. Hopefully you can see that. It goes all the way through. That's just tape right there, but the edge is actually right up against the side. And you can see it on this end too, right up against the side. That's what you're looking for. Now for this side, you might need to, this part you might need to lay those down a bit, which is a-okay. Now in this section here, you need to, if you lay them twice over, it's too much. So we are only going to worry about this first piece here. So that just fold it over the once on both ends. Okay, so we're going to put our tape right up against the score line, but only on the first score line, okay? So right up to there. And snip that off. I know that you might like to rip it, but I like to snip mine. So, and we need to put tape on each side of these places where we cut kitty corner. Okay, oops. And I'm going to cut that off there as well. Okay, so then I've got a mess made out of this. And now we're going to put some tape on this kitty corner. Okay, so hopefully my head's not in there. And we'll cut that off. Here we go. There. The tape's in all over here going willy-nilly on me. So I'll cut that off too so I can see I've got some extra pieces here. Okay, so I'm just going to give that a good burnish. Good burnish here. Now we're going to remove the backing on here. And we are going to place this backing on to cover the tape until we're finished what we need to do. And then you can take your backing from before and cut it up so that you try to cover this whole section. Now sometimes these backings don't want to stay on, and that's fine, but it's better if you can keep them on so that they can come off when you want them to come off, not when they want to come off. But you know, it's fine. Once you get the hang of this, it's not going to be such a big deal. It's just when you're first doing it, the first couple of times you do it, you might need a little bit of leeway there. Okay, so this one, same thing. You want to keep your fingers bent in, so you bring this right up. You lay this part of the cardboard of your cardstock on the line here. Okay, so that's your first score line on the base. And you match these two up. So this is going to be here, right? And then you want it to be right within those, in this section here. So this part doesn't touch your part that you've already done on either side. You want that to be free motion. And as you can see, that's nicely done. So now we're going to come and do this side. So we're going to lay our tape right up against this score line. Right up against the score line there. And there we go. Okay. Cut this off. And now we are back to putting tape where we did the kitty corner cuts. Okay, so there. And then on this side here. And then we will cut that off. There we go. So now I'm going to put this tape away so I don't get it all over the place. And I'm going to give this tape a nice burnish here and on each one of these sides. Okay. And now we're going to remove the backing again. And then we're just going to replace these on here so that nothing sticks before we want it to. So really that's what we're trying to prevent. That there, and then we're going to put this on here. And you want them long enough that you're going to be able to pull them. So this might be a little long, but till we get to this finished here, we'll be fine. So this piece of paper the end needs to match up with that one. So we're going to hold it down, bring it up, lay it down, make sure and it's where you want it to be, and press. Really, you want this to have free motion on each side. So when you just fold that down, you should have free motion there. Okay, so here we have it. So now we're going to fix these sides. So you pull this in with your finger and miter these two edges. You pull your pieces of tape out and then you just rub. There you go. That side's done. Now this side here, we need to get our little pieces of backing out. Okay, that's good. And now we're going to pull this one in, pull that one up with your other finger, and press. There we go. And this side here, miter those together just like that. Rub your bone folder. And this one here, pull them in and rub it with your bone folder. Perfect. There you go. So thank you for joining me and spending your time with me, and hopefully this is a little better to see. I've put the supersonic lights on, so hopefully it works well, and I'll be interested to hear if this is satisfactory. So thank you so much. Bye bye.